In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read the ancient tomes. The order of the Abracast. We are the brave and the bold.
Hey, this is something a little bit different. So for every Patreon subscriber or Subscribestar subscriber at the $10 level, they get monthly phone time with me. And generally what I do is I record the phone conversations, and I will post the first of them up on the main feed. So this is one of those phone conversations. I hope you enjoy it. So if you don't enjoy, if you're like, I don't want to listen to this, that's fine. You're still going to get your episodes promised for the week, but just go ahead and skip this one if you're not interested in it. That's fine. It's fine with me. It's fine with them. It's cool. But it's just a way for me to get to know the people that are into the show. And you know, you go on these phone conversations with these folks every month, and you get to learn fun stuff. You get to make friends with them, and it's a good time. It's fun. So that's what this episode is all about. If you want to skip it, go ahead. But you know, we'll be back on Friday and again on Sunday. So thank you. But I do hope you enjoy it. Some fun stuff does come out of these. A lot. Often. Most of the time.
The Abracast. Occult, history, conspiracy, and violence.
Jesse, so how's it going, buddy?
Good, you?
Good, man. It's nice to finally talk to you.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's weird actually talking to you. Like, what? How's quarantine life going?
Oh, brother. I'm tired of it already, man. I know that your state's locked down for still probably a lot longer than mine, right?
Yeah, like since like the middle, like the end of March.
Yeah. It's been shitty. How about you?
It's boring.
Yeah, the kids driving you crazy?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
Luckily, it's just me and my wife. So.
And they're sick of even playing in the yard. There's nowhere to go. Well, they just opened up the state parks again today.
Oh, that's good.
So they're reopening. We'll see how long that lasts, though, because I drove by some today and cars are lined the side of the road. So
they're like, whoa, not so many people. They're going to close it down like they're doing here in Pennsylvania. They're opening up some of the rural counties, but obviously I'm in Pittsburgh, so I'm going to be on lockdown forever, I think. But even in the rural counties and stuff, they're only letting restaurants open to 25% of capacity. So everyone's trying to wrap their head around the economics of it. They'll be losing money still, only opening up 25% of their seating and stuff. So it's all very difficult to keep track of. And, everybody's got opinions and, I think it's going to be a few years before we figure out actually what fucking really happened.
I can kind of see both sides of it, because if it does get bad, if they open everything back up and it gets bad again, then what good's the economy if 1 million people die? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
I can kind of see it both ways.
Yeah. Hey, so you were in the, if memory serves me, you were in the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do? You were
Fighter jet mechanic. A crew
wow.
chief.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, did you get to like?
I didn't have a chair force job.
Yeah.
A lot of 16-hour days.
Yeah, my buddy was in the Air Force, and he was like a IT guy or something in the '90s. So yeah, he was in that chair force business, and he's recently gotten into guns, and he was like, "How do you shoot these M16s?" And I'm like, "Bro, you never shot an M16?" He was like, "No, man, I was working on C++ back then."
Luckily, I grew up in the country, so I knew how to shoot guns anyway, and I got like, they probably didn't have good M16s like you did in the Army, and I swear they were like 45 years old, and they were like falling apart, and I got expert marksman with them.
Yeah, that's cool. I never fired a gun before I went in the service. So the drill instructors were like, who's never shot a gun? And I was like, I've never shot a gun. And he was like, you're going to be the easiest motherfucker to teach how to do this. You know?
And the guy next to me was so bad, the drill instructor was like, shoot his fucking target for it. Just shoot it. You suck.
Let's get off of this range. That's funny.
Because I grew up in Vermont, like 15 minutes from the Canadian border.
Oh yeah. Well, I heard that the Prime Minister in Canada just banned all kinds of guns in the wake of this mass shooting they had up there.
Yeah, I saw that. Go figure. Like, I have strong views on Canada.
Yeah. So you kind of grew up in in a country sort of area. Did you grow up in like a religious environment? Did you have like a church and God in your life and all that?
I went to Catholic school, but my parents are more hippies, kind of like not religious per se. You know, not like we didn't go to church or nothing.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been a focal part of life. No.
My parents were hippies too. My dad still is a hippie.
My dad still wakes and bakes.
Yeah. Well, I don't think my old man wakes and bakes anymore, but he has that the left wing socialist kind of view, which leads for some pretty interesting Thanksgivings.
Well, I mean, I say hippie, but my parents aren't really like lefties. They're kind of more in the middle.
Yeah.
More in the middle.
That's cool.
And it's funny, I married my wife from Ireland, and like she's a total opposite of like everything revolved around church, going to church.
Oh yeah, is she like a witchy kind of chick or what?
No, like Catholic.
Okay.
Like she's not super religious, like, but she grew up super religious. Like her parents used to go to church like every day.
Wow.
Every day.
Yeah. So where did you meet her at when you were in the service?
Well, no, like right before I left, there was an IBM near where I went to high school, and her brother worked there, and he married one of my friend's cousins, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to the wedding, and I met her, and we got married. Young, 19, we got married.
Nice.
And
and you have two kids?
3. We have 3 kids.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
One was just born 4 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
4. He still requires a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Is there like any kind of like funny, like cross-cultural kind of things between you guys? Like, was she living here when you got married or when you met?
she moved over here. She moved over here only because we got married.
I see. Yeah. So is there weird like outsider kind of stuff for her still, or has she pretty much just kind of gotten used to America?
No, she's gotten used to it, and I mean, it was kind of easier for her. Like everybody loved her because she was from Ireland. Because everybody's Irish here, so
right. Yeah.
She didn't have too much trouble assimilating.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like when I lived in Germany for a few years, and it's interesting because everybody, like all the young people, spoke English over there. So it was almost like, unless you wanted there to be like a language barrier, like it pretty much didn't exist. I always thought that was like a fascinating aspect of Europe.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to get used to her English. I was like, "Are we speaking the same language?" And sometimes her brother, I still look at him just with a blank look, and I was like, "You got to slow down."
That's interesting. So I believe that you came to the show for the Giants. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of whatever the first episode you did with Justin was.
Oh, the first episode. The episode I did with Justin was Pancho Villa.
Well, no, maybe it was before that. I can't. Yeah. It was definitely the Giants, though.
Yeah. So I think it was the Giant of Kandahar was the first Giant thing that I did.
Oh yeah. I was. You know what's funny? I was asking my friend that was deployed in Afghanistan if he heard about that.
What'd he say?
He hadn't heard of it.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
I was like, man, bummer. I wish you would have heard of it.
Can you just tell me you heard of it? That's funny. I wanted to tell you. Hold on, let me grab my phone real quick. I wanted to tell you because I ran into a new documentary on Giants on YouTube, and I kind of put it in the back of my mind because I knew that we'd be speaking.
Oh, cool. Let me get a pen.
Give me 1 second here. Uh-oh.
Hey. I'm
yeah,
here.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep. Just give me 1 more second. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, sorry. I got my kid talking to me in my face, and I tell him to go away.
No, it's no problem, man. Yeah. So why? Like, what is it about these Giants that gets you revved up? Just the idea that they were like around, or the idea that they have kind of been hidden. What do you think it is for you?
Well, kind of like all of it. Like, why theoretically, if they do exist, why is the Smithsonian covering it all up, like making it totally disappear?
Yeah.
And if it is proven that they are real, and what does that say about like the Bible? Like if like a crazy thing like giants really did exist, like where does like the truth stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the documentary that I just found, and it might not be brand new. I just never ran into it before. It's called A Race of Giants. It's over an hour long. It's like 101 minutes long.
Race of Giants YouTube.
Yeah. And I haven't checked it out yet. So.
Yeah. So it's like if that's true, what else is like? It's like what else is true in the stories of the Bible? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. So probably the weirdest idea that I've heard about the Smithsonian losing stuff or whatever is because of oh shit, what do they call it? It's like divine or no. Manifest Destiny is what it's called. Andrew Jackson did this thing called Manifest Destiny, where basically he was like, we could take all these Indians' lands because like they're not like civilized enough to know how to use it or whatever. And so the idea is they had to keep getting rid of these giant bones because they were a civilization other than the Native Americans. And so they had to like hide them in order to keep our land claim under this Manifest Destiny, all kosher. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I didn't you do an episode with Giants and Manifest Destiny, or was that Manifest Destiny and something else?
Well, I think it came up in one of the American sermons, and I think I did talk about the Manifest Destiny thing. In that, I think that's what it was. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. Like the whole thing is just to preserve this land scam, you know, that we did against the Native Americans.
Yeah, there's so many angles.
Yeah, and like you read the reports of like boats full of giant bones being like floated out into the ocean and just dumped out in the ocean, like to get rid of the bones and stuff. Like all that stuff's fascinating. And have you ever watched that? I don't think it's even on anymore, but like on Discovery, they did like a giant show for a while with that Vieira guy.
Yeah. The brothers were Masons.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah. I think that's where I first got hooked on it.
Okay. Yeah, like that's interesting because I remember they tracked down the house of some guy who said he owned bones like in the 1800s or something. They found like this unmarked or unknown cavity like in the foundation of the house where they thought that he could have been like hiding the bones and stuff, and all that stuff like gets you revved up a little bit about that.
Yeah. I could talk about the Giants all day.
Yeah. So I do think it was an American Sermon episode when we were talking about because the region that I live in actually has a big story about the Native Americans versus a tribe of giants. Actually, the Allegheny River is named, like the word Allegheny is from the Native American tribe, the Allegaway, which fought this tribe of giants. I believe that wasn't an American Sermon story.
Yeah, it was the first episode of it.
Yeah. I want to go back and re-listen to some of that stuff.
I remember the most random stuff. Like you asked me to get 3 things at the grocery store, and I'll forget.
So, but you're a wrestling fan too, right?
Yeah, like the old school. I don't really like the new stuff.
Yeah. You had mentioned that you liked HBK, and I thought that was interesting because you don't seem like a pretty boy kind of dude. So I thought that's what I was like, really? HBK? All right.
I just like this style, and then DX came. They're my favorite group ever.
Okay.
Remember the first time they came out and the band was there?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that pay-per-view when the band was there and it was their first time coming out.
Yeah, I remember that because everyone was like, "What?" And then they really did a lot of like cool, like funny, silly, like gimmicks and stuff. I liked when they used to show up at the WCW tapings and like all their military gear and stuff, telling everybody to suck it.
And another good HBK moment when he Sweet Chin Music, Marty Jannetty through Brutus's window.
Yeah,
or threw him through the window.
Yeah, I remember that. Actually, one of my favorite matches was HBK versus Mankind. The one thing that I can remember from it is he got HBK dropped toe holded Mankind into the ring steps, and he took it like face first, and then he suplexed Mankind on the outside of the ring, and his legs bounced into the ring steps, and I was like, oh my god, that shit's crazy. Do you remember that match? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And those guys' bodies take a beating.
Yeah, so when when I was wrestling, I stole all those moves. Like I took a back body drop into the ring steps, and like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take some of this ring step business. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you see those guys now, and you got to think that they feel like they're 97 years old or something walking around.
My son's just gonna ask me a quick question. I'm so sorry.
No problem, man.
Oh, it was really nothing. I'm sorry. No, like did you like even seeing Shawn Michaels walk out now? His knees look all fucked up.
Yeah,
like they're bowed. Like when people have like real bad knees,
mm-hmm.
they get like bowed.
Yeah. But I relate to all that. That's for sure. Well, my knees have been fucked up. Like I was a skate punk, like when I was in high school. So like I started on working on my knees early, and then the army didn't do me any favors, and then wrestling certainly didn't do my knees any favors.
Have you watched Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah. I think that I've seen all of them. I
watched a crazy one about the Fabulous Moolah.
Yeah, I know. She like treated her stable like a bunch of hookers, apparently.
Yeah, but then you had other people that said it's not true. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's like you're gonna get that, especially with these people that are like legendary in the field. Like you're gonna find people that will still defend them, I guess. And I've never, I really certainly didn't see it coming. I always thought of Moolah like, so it's. My relationship with wrestling is weird because when I was a kid, I didn't like it. Like I was like, it's so fake. You can see them stomping their foot when they punch and all of this stuff. It wasn't until I was in college that I was like, okay, so it was the Attitude Era, sort of the very beginning of the Attitude Era is when I really got on board with wrestling. So I knew Moolah as like, to me, she was like the Betty White of the WWF or whatever, like she was just a sweet little old lady all the time. So that all that stuff.
Who's the other old chick that was who was the other old chick that was always with her? Mae Young?
It was Mae Young and the Fabulous Moolah.
And then who else did I watch? The guy that got stabbed in Montreal, or was it Montreal that he got stabbed?
Well, the Montreal was the screw job one, I think. I don't remember the guy getting stabbed. Did you see the New Jack one?
No, this guy, he was friends with what's that guy's name? The dude that got stabbed was like 6'7". He had like a huge beard.
Oh, Bruiser Brody got stabbed. He got stabbed in Mexico, I think.
Oh, was Mexico? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Bruiser Brody episode.
And then Macho Man, that was a good episode.
Yeah, yeah. It's just funny, like how many crazy stories they could find from the world of wrestling because everybody's a lunatic. Everybody's fucking crazy. That's associated with that business.
Ultimate Warrior was cool too.
Yeah, man. I mean, that guy was just so amped all the time. I remember him, he would run. He'd just fucking like sprint down the ramp and then get in the ring and shake the ropes. Remember, he would just jiggle all the ropes around.
Yeah. And, that whole era I like from like the 80s to like maybe like the late 90s.
Yeah. So I'm like from probably like I don't know, maybe like 96, 97 to like 2000. Like that's my like little window of it. Did you see the Chris Benoit episodes of that?
Yeah, that was it. That was sad.
What a tragic thing, man. Yeah. And then like it's
just like the Aaron Hernandez thing with football. Do you know about that?
Yeah. And they both of those the documentaries on Aaron Hernandez always end with this discussion about the CTC. And that's the way
CTE.
CTE.
Like, I don't, not making excuses for him, and I don't excuse what they did. Like, it was horrible, but it's sad that there wasn't any help for him.
Yeah, I mean, not until pretty recently, I don't think that people have actually even been talking about that. Talking about, what multiple concussions can, kind of do to a person. And then, like, on top of that, you have all these other circumstances going on with them, like in Aaron Hernandez's situation, it was, he got outed on radio for being bisexual. And in the Benoit situation, Eddie Guerrero died, so it's like you have this brain problem, but you also have everyday life going on around you. That's the kind of the way that I look at it.
No, yeah, definitely. And I know Aaron Hernandez have asked for help, like pretty much asked for help. And like everybody just wanted him for his football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he had asked for a trade from New England because like he had shot that other guy.
Right.
And they're like, no, we're not going to trade you. So like the blame lays on him because not everybody with CTE kills somebody.
Right. Yeah, of course.
But it's sad to be that out of control that you can't stop yourself.
Yeah, so like my wife is bipolar, and so like I have to deal with like a lot of these like wild mood swings, very sudden changes of like attitude and situation, and mental health issues run in my family, on both sides of my family actually. So it's like I'm like neck deep in like all of this kind of potential mental health issues, and this quarantine thing has just got me like amped up on it, because you think these people that are suffering from like depression or any sort of issue like this, like they're not getting outside, they're not getting any vitamin D, theoretically, who knows if they have any kind of support system, that can help them through this, because everyone's dealing with their own shit, So I feel like when the lights come back on, I think that we're going to have a lot of fucking sad stories. Also this thing with, domestic abuse and child abuse, imagine the amount of cases that are just going unreported because no one else has access to these people that are getting abused right now. Like there's no teachers, there's no social workers, appointments happening, so I worry about that because that kind of stuff is in my background as well. So I really am like, I think that, I think it's time to open up the doors, at least let's get a head count and see how everybody's, kind of doing. But like you, I can kind of see both sides of it. But yeah, I'm really worried about the condition of the mentally unhealthy of America right now.
Because even with the poverty, I don't know if it's true, but my friend was telling me, because he's all about opening everything back up, that there's an actual death rate that could be as high as the virus from people like from suicide and stuff, like from poverty. Like,
yeah,
if people lose everything. And I was like, where do you draw the line for everything? It's confusing to me. That's why I don't usually talk about it with people, because most people have strong views about it. Open everything up or don't open everything up.
Yeah, but I think that your buddy is right, because watching yourself tank financially is stressful enough, but like if you're a business owner and like say you got like 16 or 10 people that rely on you and you're just watching them suffer as well, like it's all just awful. But
there's no good choice.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, these people that are making the decisions, just let's hope they make them wisely. And also there's this thing that everyone's talking about, like a coming food shortage, because there's no meat processing plants running right now because everyone's getting the virus in them because they're so close quarters and all of that kind of stuff. And that's really freaking me out.
Because no matter what decision is made, there's potential of people dying.
Yeah. And then like the first person that dies after one of these states opens it up, they're gonna be like, it's the fucking governor killed this motherfucker because he opened it up. You're just like, it's like a balancing act, I guess. I don't know.
Like, I thought through all this, people like the politicians would get along more. And
oh yeah, no, I don't.
Disappointed. It's just turned into a big political thing.
Yeah, and it didn't take very long for it to happen.
No, because like all the Trump people believe everything he says, and like all the left people believe everything the left says, and like it's like, come on, people, you don't trust any politician. At least I don't.
Yeah, right. It's like that old Max Headroom joke. When how can you tell that a politician's lying? Because his lips are moving.
And it's just, I wish people would get along.
Yeah.
If my kids acted like that, they'd be in timeout or something.
Jesse be like, get him a timeout. That's funny.
Learn more at abracast.com. Get bonus content by signing up for the mailing list. Get all that plus many exclusive episodes by supporting the show at patreon.com or subscribestar.com.
The Water of the Art operation. So using the Magus, the celestial intelligencer, and operations from the Greater Key of Solomon and the Bible, I'm going to be preparing a large bottle of water of the art. It's kind of like holy water, but it's way cooler. Check it out. This is what the Greater Key of Solomon says. And know that wheresoever thou shalt sprinkle this water, it will chase away all phantoms, and they shall be unable to hinder or annoy anyone. With this same water thou shalt make all the preparations of the art. So I'm going to be collecting the ingredients needed for the operation on the days and hours specified in the book, and I'm going to perform the operation Wednesday, June 3rd at 11 p.m. And I'm also going to charge the water of the art under the full moon of June 6th. If you're interested in obtaining some of this water of the art, all you have to do is join the Patreon or subscribe star at the $10 tier. Being a supporter of the show on these platforms will also get you access to videos and bonus audio related to the operation. And I'm like, who wouldn't want some dope wizard water? So, how are you passing your time? Are you able to get to work in any kind of fashion, or are you working from home, or what's up with you?
Since I had my back surgery, I'm on Social Security now.
Okay.
So I'm a stay-at-home dad is my job.
Cool.
But
so
I pass my time at night. I play video games with my 19-year-old nephew that's getting ready to go to the Army in August.
Oh, yeah? Cool. What do you know what he's going to be doing? Like what his Army job's going to be?
Infantry, I think.
Infantry, yeah. Well, everybody's a rifleman.
And I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's an older game. It's probably like 25 years old. EverQuest.
Oh, is that like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing?
Well, it's like the first MMO. Like people were playing on dial-up back in the day.
Okay, yeah. I'm familiar with it. Yeah, So what platform is that on? Like a PlayStation?
No, on the computer.
Oh, on the computer. Okay, I got you.
On the computer.
So
I try to.
Do you get to create a character, or do you have to take one that's already made?
No, you pick what race, what class you want. I'm more of a melee kind of class guy, like a warrior or a berserker. Or tonight I'm playing as a rogue.
Okay.
And they're kind of like an assassin. They use poison. They pickpocket. And
so you can be
my
like
other main character.
I was just going to say, so you could be like a dwarf or something, or an elf, or like a human.
Yeah,
or
you
something.
can be a dwarf, a halfling, a troll, an ogre, a barbarian. Like four different kinds of elves.
You can, because like the orcs and the trolls are traditionally they're bad guys, right? So you can kind of like be like a bad guy character.
Yeah. You can make good choices if your faction up good with the good people. Like you can kill the bad guys to get your faction up with the good guys.
I see. So there's a logic on how you can work with the regular good, traditionally good characters.
Yeah. But my wife is like, she plays too, and she likes like the magic people. Like her main class is a druid.
Right.
Like she's a druid. And go figure, from Ireland. She likes
right, yeah. That's why I was laughing. I was like, okay, yep, I see it.
But I'm more of a use a sword and beat you over the head with it.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of magic.
Yeah, that makes sense for you. I can see that.
And I started a half and half character last night. I started a Shadow Knight, which is like, it's like a warrior, but then you're part necromancer.
Oh, I see. So it's like kind of like a Templar. Like you're half in like this kind of religious or magic zone, and then you're half kind of warrior.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like you have some spells, but then you're also like a tank.
Right. Yeah, right. I get it. So did you play Dungeons and Dragons when you were a kid?
No, but me and my wife just got like the starter set.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start playing. We're gonna try to figure it out.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's right up your alley. So I never really played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, but I collected all the books. Like I loved all the mythology and all like the pseudo magic stuff like in them. Like I had like it's weird. I guess it's kind of like a side of like my geekiness. Like, you know, I didn't know, like I couldn't go out and buy like the Lesser Key of Solomon when I was a teenager, but I could get like this other sort of magic book, which is like these D&D manuals. Like those were available to me. So I kind of got them. Like I got one that is all about like the different levels of reality. They call them like planes. Like you have like the fire plane and the earth plane and the air plane and the water plane and like all the different creatures you would encounter there. And I had like monster manuals and stuff. Really, it was like a geeky thing, and it was bizarre that I had so much of it, and I never sat down to figure out how to play it.
Like one of the main book series we read, I think, is set in the Dungeons and Dragons world. I'm pulling out a book now to see it. I think it is. What's his name? The Dark Elf's name is Drizzt Do'Urden.
Hmm.
And I think it's part of the Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know. Like I remember when I was in high school, they had I believe it was a Dungeons and Dragons novel, but it was about a Minotaur called Kaz the Minotaur. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
Well, this guy writes in the Forgotten Realms. It's not necessarily a Dungeons and Dragons book, but like he writes in the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. It's like yeah, I think Forgotten Realms is part of the Dungeons and Dragons thing. It's like one of their little side things or something.
Yeah, and he's the Dark Elf is like a really famous character.
Cool. So what about like movies? Do you like these fantasy, like the Lord of the Rings movies and this kind of stuff? It sounds like it's kind of your thing.
Yeah, any of those kind of movies. I liked Game of Thrones until about season 6 when they stopped having material to work from.
Yeah, I never read Game of Thrones, so the show was all that I knew, and I was a late adopter to it. You know, I came in. I think I watched maybe the last 3 seasons live, but everything else I video on demanded or whatever. But I loved it. I loved the end of it that everyone freaked out about. Like I was okay with that because I wasn't married to the material. You know?
I stopped watching the last season after like 2 episodes, and I read the reviews, and I was like, "This is garbage. This would have never happened in the book." Because, like in the author's own writing, there was only one way to kill a dragon.
Yeah,
and none of them were the way that how easy they died in the show.
Right.
Like the only way to kill a dragon in the book was to shoot one of those arrows through its eye.
Through the eye, yeah, that's interesting.
And they like it's just like my wife says I get too worked up about it, but
it's fine.
I say a fact, but it's a fact in the author's world that they wouldn't have died that easy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting because I even though like I said, I wasn't married to the material and I was just kind of like watching the show and I got hooked on the show of it. But like, I understand what you're talking about because I'm the same way with Star Wars. Like Star Wars was an integral part of my life up until about, I don't know, 10 years ago, I guess, or whenever they started making these fucking Disney movies. But now I'm like, this is all bullshit. Like, this isn't real Star Wars. Like, so I kind of totally understand with what you're talking about.
Like the show merged like 3 cool characters like into one, totally dropped other cool characters.
Yeah.
I just don't think the writers did a good job when they didn't have George R. Meyer material to work from.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's
like
all
even though you liked it, you could notice the downtick in the writing when they didn't have his source material to work from.
Well, I couldn't identify where they were in out of his material, but what I was able to identify is when they started saying that distance and time doesn't matter. Like someone would get on a horse to travel to like the next 3 kingdoms over, and they would show up there and after one scene, you know, and like in the earlier seasons, like that would have been a whole, you know, 3-story arc. Like that would be a whole 3 episodes with them just traveling someplace.
I think they were in a rush to get to their Star Wars movie that they winded up getting fired from.
Yeah, maybe.
How reception they got.
Yeah, and then so did you? So you never watched like the last couple episodes, or did you ever go back and check them out? No. Well, you must have.
Maybe I will. I mean, I don't want to say I don't like the idea of democracy, but I'm watching a fantasy show about like kings and everything. I don't want to hear them say, "Oh, well, let's vote for the new king."
Right. Well,
that's just not how his writing would have ended.
Yeah. Well, so how you said that they were like rushing to get it over with. I'm sure that you saw the memes and stuff of Daenerys with her Starbucks cup in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. From a show that is high, the attention to detail is like ridiculous. Then there's multiple things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's because it's one of my favorite stories ever. I just think they murdered it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. I guess that I was lucky to not have read the books and not been like a obsessed with it. Like I fell in love with the show, so how it ended for me was fine.
You should definitely read the books. I don't know if you like reading.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've had this conversation on Instant Messenger where I'm just bogged down. I do so much reading for the show. I can't really take on a whole George R.R. Martin project, you know.
Yeah, and it's pretty intensive. It's like 900 pages, like hardback.
Yeah, yeah, and also like the way that he writes, I think would be jarring for me. Like every chapter is a different character and a different kind of tone or whatever. I think that it would take me a while to get used to that.
And like Tyrion's my favorite character in the show.
Yeah,
but like he had a kind of different feel in the book. He's a bad guy in the book. Like he doesn't have like he's kind of fun loving, but you can tell he's a villain. Yeah. And like the show made him just like this jovial, like happy, like hero guy.
Yeah, and then like, well, he was like, even if he was like an anti-hero when he got kind of adopted by Daenerys, they totally made him into like this benevolent kind of figure, like that can make like the tough decisions even when they're unpopular and all this other kind of stuff.
Like he went from being the smartest character to like the dumbest character.
Yeah, like literally they say that. They're like, you used to be smart and now you're stupid.
And another thing that they made Jon Snow, like it was pointless to even know who his parents were. Because they just sent him off into the thing. From what I read, they just sent him off to the north again.
Well, no, I think that, oh boy, I don't know. Like they made it.
At least that's the way I took what I read.
Yeah, they made it important because he was able to use it politically when it became known. But, you know, when it was all said and done, it's not going to save you because basically what he did was so fucking shitty to all the, to everybody that it was kind of like a favor that they didn't kill him over it. So that's the way that I kind of took it.
They all wanted her dead anyway.
Well, yeah, but I think that they had to placate Grey Worm somehow so that he wouldn't counterattack and fucking kill them all in the wake of what had happened. So the way,
I just don't think he would have had the army to take them on.
Well, I don't know. You know, that's just the way that the show. I don't know what the numbers and stuff were. That's just the way the show played out.
Because the books ended. I'm still waiting. I've been waiting like 8 or 9 years for the next book to come out. But
I mean, the guy is
the last book ended with Jon Snow getting stabbed
at Castle Black.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah. So that's where they ran out of material. Is there? Yeah. So we don't even know if in George R.R. Martin's book universe if Jon Snow's going to come back to life.
Well, no, it's pretty much you kind of know that he is. There's so much foreshadowing of it in the book, and what was I going to say? You pretty much know that he's going to come back because in the book, the Red Lady keeps seeing snow in the fire.
Right. Okay.
But she doesn't know what it is.
I gotcha. So that's kind of where he ran out of material, or where they ran out of the source material. So that's interesting. Maybe I should go and rewatch everything after that and kind of keep that in mind. That would be interesting, maybe.
Because that's where it started going downhill for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when you get the characters together, and they did a lot of that in the last season. Like they did like 2 episodes of all the characters coming together, and I really dug that. You know, when you have a bunch,
what?
I was just gonna say, like, when you have a bunch of characters that you know so well, and they all get together just to have a beer or something and just to bullshit, like all that stuff's fun to me. It reminds me of in Age of Ultron, where all the Avengers got together to have a party after they did the thing. They were all like goofing off and like doing jokes with each other. Like I really enjoyed that stuff in the last season of Game of Thrones.
That's another thing I could talk about all day is Marvel.
Yeah, man. I'm a Marvel nut, dude. I was born and raised on it.
My kids are obsessed. Well, obviously because I am, but like the other day, my son, my 8-year-old, comes up to me and he's named like 11 different symbiotes.
Yeah, you were telling me about that, and I was like, oh, I don't even know.
I'm like, dude, that's cool that he looked it up on his own on YouTube, named them, what color they were.
Yeah.
Did you like the Venom movie?
I haven't seen it.
No, you haven't?
No, I have a rule. This is gonna sound shitty. I have a rule, like I won't watch anything that's not like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. Like I won't watch any of the DC movies. I just don't have time. There's so many superhero movies out there, and the only ones that I enjoy on a consistent level and basis are the Marvel Cinematic movies. So,
well, I mean, it technically is part of the universe.
Yeah, well, it seems like they're about to merge them somehow. But until then,
it's an excellent movie.
Yeah,
they made him more of like an anti-hero. His more anti-hero aspect.
Yeah, well, they did that to him in the 90s, but like to me, the origin story is all fucked up because the whole point of Venom, is that Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker and the Venom hates Spider-Man. That's the whole point. So if Spider-Man's not involved in his origin story, I don't think it's Venom, and I don't see how it's relevant at all to anything.
Because it still can be an origin story because, like, he didn't do much in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, the story didn't progress that far.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, but I wouldn't even watch the Deadpool movies until they were on, like, TBS. So, I don't know. I'm kind of a stickler about it. I think it was after Fantastic Four. After that second after the second, the one with the Silver Surfer, I was like, I've got to really evaluate how I'm supporting these shitty movies. It was.
I hope Disney remakes X-Men because X-Men are technically my favorite.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Universe.
Yeah, so like we were talking about our dads earlier. My old man is a giant comic book fan, and I was raised like he had like the whole Claremont X-Men run. That's when they were doing like the all the outer space stuff and all like the time travel, the Days of Future Past stuff was all Claremont. And so I grew up with those comic books. And then like when they started making the X-Men movies, I was like, these aren't awful, but I kept supporting them because they were X-Men movies. And I just got into this rut where I'm like, I remember it was the second Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer, and it was that second fucking Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage. After those two movies, I was like, I've got to seriously refigure going to support all of these movies because they're shit. Like I just keep giving them money to show me bullshit. And when Iron Man came out, I was like, okay, well, I'll give this a shot. And then when Superman, the Man of Steel came out, I was like, nope, this is back on the fucking back burner. But I broke my rule and I went to see that Dawn of Justice, and I was like, this is shitty. And then I went and seen Justice League, and I was like, I am taking all the DC movies off my list. Like, I'm not going to watch any of them. So
the only DC movies that I liked were the Batmans with Christian Bale.
Yeah, well, those were interesting deconstruction of the superheroes and stuff. So I did like those. And I mean, Christian Bale.
I don't really know much about anything about DC comic books. Maybe that's why I could enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, it was good. I mean, those were good.
Yeah, so I don't really know anything about DC.
Yeah.
Maybe I hate Superman, so I wouldn't watch a Superman movie anyway.
So I heard that they're going to like integrate Deadpool into the Marvel movies now. I think they're going to do something with this second Doctor Strange movie where they're going to kind of shuffle all the other movies into like a multiverse or something.
It's going to be rated R.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, because or at least PG-13, because it takes place with the Nightmare guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that it was going to be like more of like a horror movie. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was just watching Ragnarok last night.
That's a good movie.
It's so fucking funny. It's all. And Kate Blanchett like is for some like her as like this goth emo, mother issue or father issue, chick is like smoking hot. She can like produce all these blades from all over the place. So, you can't really lose with that, I guess.
The next Thor is going to be real good. The storyline is when Jane Foster gets cancer and Thor gives her the armor so she'll live.
Yeah.
So she won't die.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till the Disney Plus shows come out.
Yeah. So I always thought that the second Thor movie should have been Beta Ray Bill, because that's like my favorite Thor story is Beta Ray Bill.
I think he might be in this one coming up.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying, because I guess they sort of introduced Corbinites in the Endgame. I didn't catch it, but I didn't catch that they were Corbinites, but that's interesting. If they're like running because Thanos already had destroyed their world or something, that's interesting, because in the stories, it's Surtur that destroys their world. And Surtur's demons are chasing him across the galaxy in their ship. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's interesting. But yeah, I wanted Beta Ray Bill so bad.
And then, what was I going to say? Christian Bale is going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like the God Killer or something, the God Slayer or something like that. I'm unfamiliar with the story they're taking it from.
Me too. So I don't know what happens with Thor. And and there's a bunch of cool shows coming on Disney Plus. I don't know if you looked any of them up, but like Loki, and it's going to kind of have like an 80s vibe to it.
Yeah, I guess he's running from the Time Variance Agency or something, which is something from like an 80s that was something that was in the 80s comics. It's like this group of like men in black that are chasing down these people that fuck with time. And so I guess that's interesting that Loki's got the Tesseract from the first Avengers movie. I guess that's how they're going to tie it together. The one that I'm looking forward to is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Is he going to be the White Wolf?
Well, the title's Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I think he's done with the White Wolf business.
Oh.
Because they refer to, when he's in Wakanda, they refer to him as the White Wolf, but the name of the show is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
And I'm trying to think of the other ones. She-Hulk, I can't wait till that.
WandaVision. WandaVision's going to be coming up. I think it's the second one, or maybe even the first one that's going to come out.
And but She-Hulk, me and the boys are big Hulk fans.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of pointing the way to the Red Hulk in the movies.
Yeah, I hope so, because I know they can't make a standalone Hulk movie because of the rights or whatever. But there's a school cartoon that my kids used to watch called Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Yeah.
But it was Hulk, Red Hulk,
Doc Samson, I think.
Scar, and whoever I don't know remember the guy's name, but whoever the guy was that was A-Bomb. Like the kind of blue Hulk, he looked like Abomination.
Yeah.
Kind of, but he was blue.
Right.
And it was just a Hulk team, which was really cool. And I think they could make it happen now that Hulk is not just a smasher. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the Red Hulk is Thunderbolt Ross, right?
Right. Betty's dad.
Yeah, so I think what they're going to do is I think they're lining up to do a Thunderbolts team, because the Taskmaster is in, Zemo is in Winter Soldier and the Falcon, and Taskmaster is in Black Widow, and Thunderbolts Ross is still kicking around. So I think they're going to do like maybe the Avengers have kind of gone away after Endgame, so they create like the Thunderbolts using all these supervillains. I think that would be really cool. That's something that they've done twice recently in the comics. So
no, I can't remember from the comics, but does Hulk and Red Hulk become friends?
No, at least not as far as I know. Like, because him and Thunderbolt actually fucking hate each other. So the first like year or so with the Red Hulk it was a mystery. They didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew who the Red Hulk was. He would just show up and fuck stuff up. And then eventually they revealed it. And then they did this thing called the Thunderbolts, which they mobilized a bunch of super criminals into being like superheroes, at least acting like superheroes, and they were called the Thunderbolts. And Zemo and Taskmaster and those guys were in that team, and they were named after Thunderbolt Ross. And then another thing they did is eventually Norman Osborn took over S.H.I.E.L.D., and he created a new Avengers team using all of supervillains pretending to be superheroes. Like Venom took the place of Spider-Man, and like Wolverine has some dickhead illegitimate son somewhere named Daken who took over the Wolverine costume, and Norman Osborn created an Iron Man suit, so he was like the
Dark Avengers.
Yeah. So it's something that they've done recently, like within the last 10 or 12 years. They've done it kind of twice. So I think it's something that they're probably going to kind of maybe converge that idea and sort of do that. Because then they did the Dark X-Men too, and then they did the Dark So I know that there were Dark Avengers, and I knew that they were Dark X-Men. So, I don't know, maybe that's something that they could kind of tweak around with.
Like, yeah, I want them to redo the X-Men. Like, because I personally love the X-Men, but I want them to do it, like, accurately. Like, none of the movies were accurate.
No, none of them are accurate. The characters don't act like they're supposed to act. Most of them don't even look like they're supposed to look. Like, yeah, they were awful movies, I think.
Like, I could watch, like, the newest three just because they were entertaining movies, not for the X-Men storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And yeah, my kids are obsessed with Marvel.
That's awesome. All right, bro. Well, hey, unless you got anything else for me, I gotta wrap this up. I gotta get scooching on some other stuff.
Yeah, no, great. Nice to finally talk to you over the phone. I was gonna say in person, but in voice.
Yeah, right. So before I go, though, I just want to thank you so much for your support, and thank you for, I literally believe that we're friends. We talk so much over Instant Messenger and all that stuff. So, I just want to thank you for that. And this phone thing is something that I do for the $10 tier supporters. So you get this phone call every month as long as you want it. So.
Oh, cool. Like, yeah, I'll shoot the shit whenever.
All right, man. So, hey, tell the family I said hi, and I hope you guys stay safe and sane. And, like I said, thanks a lot for the support. I do appreciate it. Thank you for listening to the show.
Oh, no problem. You're my favorite one out there.
Ah, thanks, buddy. All right, man. I'll be in touch, okay?
Okay, have a good one. Be safe.
Yep, you too. Hey, and let me know what you think about that. I'll watch that Giant documentary so we can shoot the shit about that, too. Because, like I said, I haven't seen it yet, so.
I'll watch it. My son loves Giants, too. I got him watch it in the Giants.
Yeah, right.
My 8-year-old loves it.
Cool, man. All right, take it easy, Jesse.
Okay, have a good one.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Send an email or visit us on social media to let us know what you think about this topic. And please remember to leave a 5-star rate and review.
Hey, did you learn something? Did you laugh? Supporting me is a way for you to be a part of the Advercast and ensure its growth and sustainability. It also means I can create a normal schedule for shows and bonus shows, as well as the exclusive Fellowcraft episodes. By supporting the show, you are not only a listener, but you are a part of the show. You supporting the show gives me a way to offer fun rewards as a thank you for showing your appreciation and support for our projects. Do you have an idea for a reward that you don't see? Let me know. My supporters are my partners. I currently pay for you to listen to the Advercast. Not only do I pay the hosting bills out of my own pocket, I volunteer my time and talent to each and every episode of the Advercast. The price of books, the time and resources of reading and researching, the massive amounts of gin and tonic needed, the equipment it takes to record the shows, the time and resources it takes to create the bonus material, and the cost to maintain the internet presence. Is it worth your support? I don't know. I'm proud of the Advercast, and I feel like I'm improving all the time. In addition to creating the show that you dig and that you are excited about, I also have a full-time commitment and other obligations. So why financial support? All of the supporters help me focus my time on the quality and development of the podcast. And what if you can't afford, $1 or $3 or $10 or whatever a month? Believe me, I get that. There are many degrees of support, but if you can't support the show financially, please consider leaving a 5-star rate and review on your preferred podcast app. And don't forget that you can sign into the mailing list and still unlock a lot of bonus content. Thank you. I cannot put into words how much it means to me that you listen to the show each time I post a new episode. Your feedback, support, and love of the stories that we talk about here is what keeps me going.